I think backpacking is a really symbolic thing, and a lot of the lessons that are learned out here can be applied to regular life. The forest is an entirely different place in the winter. Everything's asleep, and it is just dead silent out here. There's no wind, it's a clear sky, and there's just absolutely no background noise. It's like being in a sound booth. I'm going from Bob Lake to Canyon Falls. It's only about a 40-mile section, but this is new territory for me. I've done a good amount of winter camping before, but those were all just one-nighters, and I've never done a multiple-night backpacking trip in the winter. So we'll see how this goes. I'm not really sure. It's December 11th, and we just got our first decent snowstorm of the year. It only dropped about 5 inches on the ground, so I'm not using snowshoes yet, but one more storm like this and then it's snowshoe weather. Even though there's not a ton of snow yet, it's really cold. It got down to 0 degrees last night, and my sleeping bag is rated to 0 degrees, so I was pushing the limits. I didn't get the best sleep, but at least I got a little bit of sleep. Especially towards the morning once it warmed up just a little bit. Mornings are definitely the worst part of camping in the winter. Getting up out of your warm sleeping bag, having to pack everything up with freezing cold hands, it kind of sucks. I skipped breakfast this morning. I think a lot of the routines that I've established in the summer aren't really going to work in the winter. Because normally I like to eat breakfast and get my whole morning routine done before I pack up camp. But now that it's so cold in the morning, all I really want to do is just get on the trail and get moving so I can warm up. I've been hiking for at least half an hour now, and I just warmed up. One of the most important things that I'm trying to do is to keep my feet dry. Even though it's winter and it's about 10 degrees out, the ice on the puddles is still pretty thin, so I keep breaking through. And it's really hard to judge where a puddle even is until you break through it. Since this is my first real backpacking trip in the winter, I think I'm going to spend a lot of time comparing this to summer backpacking. So far, the only thing that's better about winter camping is the food that I can bring. I've got some raw meat in my backpack. I don't have to worry about it going bad. And I'm already realizing that I'm going to have an entirely different set of priorities in the winter. Obviously, staying warm is the biggest priority. During the day, that's not really a problem. And what's actually a problem is getting too hot during the day. Because if you get too hot, then you start sweating. And that creates all kinds of problems for later on. At the end of the day, once I'm done hiking, if my clothes are wet, they're just gonna suck all of the heat out of me. And it's gonna make for a pretty miserable night. My pace has changed a lot compared to summer hiking. Usually in the summer, I'll do long stretches of hiking and then take a longer break. But in the winter, it's kind of the opposite. I'm doing a lot of short stretches of hiking and a lot of short breaks. Managing my body temperature is much more of a challenge in the winter. I'm doing my best to try and capture as much of the experience as I can out here. But there's a few things about this experience that I've accepted just can't be captured. They have to be experienced firsthand. And the dead silence of a forest in the middle of winter is one of those things. One of the things that keeps me coming back out here, that you never know what you're gonna see, and you can almost always count on seeing something that is totally unexpected. It's about 5 o'clock on day 2 and the sun is just setting now. I'll have to start looking for a camp pretty soon, sometime in the next hour here. And it's probably not going to be anything too exciting, unless I just found a sign with the side trail to Silver Mountain. Let's see how far away that is. Looking at the map, it looks like Silver Mountain's another 2 miles away, so that's probably not worth it. I'm gonna have a hard enough time finishing these 40 miles. I'm pretty exhausted. I'm hoping that the longer I spend out here, though, the more my body will become adjusted to hiking in this temperature, these kinds of conditions. So if I can get a good night's sleep tonight, I think I'll probably feel a lot better tomorrow. So, I got a new toy that I brought out here. This is one of the first drones that's actually small and light enough to backpack with. It's day 3, and this is officially the longest consecutive time that I've spent outside in the winter. I actually slept a lot better last night than I did the first night, and at a point I actually woke up and I was almost sweating. I was so warm. Yesterday was pretty exhausting and I wasn't feeling great at the end of the day, but all I needed was a good night's sleep, and I feel pretty good this morning. It's a little bit warmer today. Watch says 20 degrees and the sky's clear. It's not snowing anymore. I think it's going to be a good day. Walking in snow is a lot like walking in loose sand. So this 40-mile section is kind of an equivalent of like a 40-mile beach walk. So that's part of the reason why I feel twice as tired after half the miles. It turns out that there's another shelter on this section. That would make it the third shelter that I've come across on the NCT in the UP. The previous two shelters that I've run into on the NCT, my timing's just been off, and I always end up getting to them in the middle of the day. I'm really making an effort to try and get to this one and actually sleep in it. In the summer, that's just kind of a novelty, but in the winter, that would make a huge difference. But it's 2 o'clock already. Sunsets in 3 hours, and I have 8 miles to go. So far, at the rate that I've been going, I'll definitely be doing some night hiking, but it'll be worth it for sure. Here it is, finally. Oran Crumb Shelter. Oh, this is so nice. Wow. It has been a long day, and this is exactly what I need. But if I've ever needed a shelter, it was definitely this one. That's a complete game changer with winter backpacking. Just to have a space to spread everything out, let it dry a little bit. I don't have to worry about setting stuff down in the snow. Plus, of course, it'll be a lot warmer. I'm sheltered from any wind. I don't have to worry about frost building up inside my tent. And as a bonus, it came with a super nice campfire area. So I'm just about to grill up some chicken and some brats that I brought out. There's even a grate hanging up on the tree behind me, so I'm gonna cook my chicken over that. Well, I thought I was going to be nice and warm in the shelter, but I didn't sleep very well. I actually slept a lot better last night in my tent. But I just found out that it's 1 degree right now. And it was just warmer last night. It's so cold my stove doesn't even work. I have to warm it up just to get the gas to come out. My oatmeal's cold before I can even finish it. On the plus side, it's my birthday today. I think I have about 15 miles left of this section. It'd be kind of nice to make it back and celebrate my birthday. I'm just trying to build up the courage here to put my snow pants and boots on. Alright. At least this is easier in a shelter than in a tent. Well, was trying to find one positive. All these are solid. I don't think I can even get that on. Got one. That one's not gonna go on right now. I'm gonna try and do some other stuff while my boot thaws out. Got my second boot on. So that's no good. An hour of hiking just to warm up enough to do this entry. My toes are just getting back to normal now. They were totally frozen, and then once they started warming back up, they just ached for about half an hour. But at least I can feel them again. I just wasn't prepared for this kind of cold. My watch says it's 7 degrees, but with the wind chill, I wouldn't be surprised if it's getting down to negative 20. The first couple days were definitely manageable. Yesterday was actually really nice, but the cold today is something totally different. I have to keep moving. That's the only way to stay even reasonably warm. And it's going to end up being about a 15-mile day. And that's a lot of miles to do in the snow. I'm in the last hour of daylight on day 4. Today has been pretty brutal. It's hard to talk, my face is so numb. I haven't really been warm at all today. The only time it's bearable is when I'm walking. If I take a break, I'm cold again within 10 minutes. But that works out alright because that means that I spent the whole day walking. I didn't do much else. It didn't take a lot of time to film or explore very much. I've probably still got another 2 miles to Canyon Falls. But my car isn't there. My car is parked another few miles down 41 at a park and ride. So I've still got at least a couple hours of hiking left. But at least I won't have to spend another night out here. I've got the Sturgeon River off to my right, which will soon fall into Canyon Falls. It'll probably be too dark to film anything by the time I get there. But I did get some drone shots before I started this section when I dropped off my car. So those will have to do. This whole section was kind of an experiment. I'd say Mother Nature gave me one of the hardest tests that she could have. This is a pretty brutal weather window to try my first winter backpacking trip in. But given the harsh conditions, I think I did all right. There was definitely a lot of suffering, but that was just because I wasn't really prepared for these kinds of temperatures. Next time I will be. And that's it for section 8.